Tonight, I'm going to show you everything you need to make gourmet candied popcorn. Stick around. Greetings, my confectionery compadres, and welcome to Randy Makes Candy, where I help you make tasty treats that people love to eat. You know those 3-flavor popcorn tins you see everywhere during the holidays? Usually it's plain popcorn, cheese, and caramel. They're fine, but let's be honest, they're not terribly exciting. So I thought, what if we took that concept and made it RMC worthy? 3 gourmet flavors that actually taste like Christmas: peppermint bark, eggnog, and gingerbread. Let's find out if Santa would pass up the milk and cookies for this, or if the Grinch would use it to cancel Christmas in Whoville. As always, I'd love to hear about your results if you decide to make your own gourmet candied popcorn, as well as suggestions for other recipes you'd like to see in future videos. For the peppermint bark popcorn, I used about 12 cups of kettle corn, 1½ cups of white melting chocolate, 3/4 cup of crushed candy canes divided, and 1/2 cup of semi-sweet melting chocolate for the drizzle. For the eggnog kettle corn, I used about 12 cups of kettle corn, 1½ cups of granulated sugar, 3/4 cup of unsalted butter, 1/2 cup of eggnog, 1/4 cup of light corn syrup, 2¼ teaspoons of ground nutmeg, 3/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. For the gingerbread caramel corn, I used about 12 cups of kettle corn, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter, 1 cup of packed brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of molasses, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 3/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I specify kettle corn here because of its salty sweetness, but feel free to use whatever popcorn you like. Be careful of the buttery ones though. The eggnog and gingerbread coatings already have butter in them, and too much butter could cause problems. I also used a large mixing bowl, a large baking pan lined with silpat, a medium saucepan, a thermometer, a spatula, and a piping bag. Let's talk presentation real quick. Sourcing the tin was a challenge. Long story short, I couldn't find a place to buy a single empty tin. It was either buy 100 empty tins or one filled with popcorn. So I ended up buying one from Walmart for about $7 filled with some exquisitely mediocre popcorn. If you find a good source for empty tins, please leave a comment below. Another option would be to put your gourmet popcorn in some cellophane gift bags, then put those bags in a larger gift bag or box. Y'all are smart, you'll figure it out. Okay, let's make some candy. I'm going to start with the peppermint bark popcorn because it's the easiest. There's no baking required. Add the popped popcorn to the mixing bowl. Don't just pour the popcorn in, that'll add unpopped kernels to the mix, and we don't want that. Let the popcorn cool, then transfer it a handful at a time, making sure you don't pick up any popped kernels. This is important for all 3 recipes. You don't want your gift to be a trip to the dentist for a cracked tooth. Melt the white chocolate according to the package directions. Pour the melted white chocolate over the popcorn and gently toss to coat it evenly. Don't be too aggressive here. You want to coat the popcorn, not crush it. Add 1/2 cup of the crushed candy canes and toss again to distribute them throughout. Spread the coated popcorn onto a lined baking sheet. Melt the dark chocolate according to package directions and pipe it over the pop. Immediately sprinkle the remaining crushed candy canes over the top. Let it set at room temperature for about 30 minutes or pop it in the fridge for 10 minutes if you're in a hurry. Next up is the gingerbread caramel corn. Set your oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, then place about 12 cups of popped kettle corn into a mixing bowl and set it aside. In a medium saucepan, melt the butter over medium heat. Add the brown sugar, molasses, ginger, cinnamon, cloves, and salt. Stir constantly until the sugar fully dissolves. Stop stirring and let the mixture come to a boil. Add the thermometer and cook to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, adjusted for altitude. Remove the pan from the heat and quickly stir in the vanilla and baking soda. The heat, along with the acidity of the molasses, causes the baking soda to release carbon dioxide. That creates the foam that gives the caramel coating a softer crunch. Immediately pour the caramel over the popcorn and toss quickly but gently to coat everything. Spread it onto the lined baking sheet, then put it in the oven. Bake it at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes, return it to the bowl, and give it a stir. Then back onto the pan and into the oven it goes. Repeat this until it slides easily from the pan into the bowl, then give it a final mix, return it to the pan, and allow it to come to room temperature. Finally, we've got the eggnog kettle corn. Set your oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, then place about 12 cups of popped kettle corn into a mixing bowl and set it aside. In a medium saucepan, melt the butter over medium heat. Add the sugar, eggnog, corn syrup, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Stir constantly until the sugar fully dissolves, then stop stirring and let it come to a boil. Add a thermometer and cook it to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, adjusted for altitude. Remove the pan from the heat and quickly stir in the vanilla, baking soda, and salt. Pour the mixture over the popcorn and toss quickly but gently to coat. Spread it onto the lined baking sheet, then put it in the oven. Bake it at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes, return it to the bowl, and mix it up a bit. Then back onto the pan and into the oven it goes. Repeat this until it slides easily from the pan into the bowl, then give it a final mix, return it to the pan, and allow it to come to room temperature. And that's it! Okay, let's give them all a taste. Sláinte. Okay, I try to stay humble, mostly because I have a lot to be humble about, but I really think I've outdone myself here. This may be the best thing I've ever made. I'm incredibly happy about each one of these. The peppermint bark popcorn hits you first with that slightly chewy crunch and the cool mint and the sweet white chocolate, and then you get little pockets of the dark chocolate bitterness that balance everything out. It's super refreshing without being too sweet. The gingerbread caramel corn has a very delicate crunch, and it really does taste like a gingerbread cookie with the warm spices and the deep, dark molasses flavor. And I'm not gonna lie, I was questioning my choice of the eggnog kettle corn. I just wasn't sure if the flavors were gonna come through, but they absolutely did. The nutmeg and the cinnamon are right there, and the crunch is kind of in between the other two. These all start with popcorn, but they're otherwise different in every way: appearance, crunch, and flavor. Perfect for a combo like this. Be careful though, because this may be the most Moorish thing I've ever made here in the Candy Kitchen. Snack all you want, just leave enough to fill the tin. If you're looking for a homemade gift that'll wow anyone who receives it, you really ought to try these. As always, I'd love to hear about your results if you decide to make your own gourmet popcorn, along with any other... You know those three Y'all are smart. The eggnog and gingerbread coatings already have butter in them and too much butter. Hey, brother, can you spare a dime?